Alright, this will be a very quick video on the 3 things that banks do in the markets. So without any further ado, let's begin. Alright, you can see here clearly starting from this area, from the minor structure when price is pushing up. When prices are breaking above structure, essentially prices are collecting liquidity. The banks are creating liquidity. Okay, you can see right here, this is a clear sign where the banks have created or taken out this trendline liquidity, right? So that was number 1. Price now needs to come back and retrace and fill all the imbalance. As we talked about in early videos, we see that there's an imbalance right here and here. Okay, right there. And price doesn't quite fill in, which is okay because it doesn't have to happen right away. And the third thing the markets have to do is mitigate their last selling order. As you can see, if we expand out here, you can see there's a sell, there's a buy, and then there's another sell off, right? Where was the last high in this area? Then there's two types of highs. All right, there's 2 highs and lows. Here is one right here. Okay, so this is a sell order that the banks have sold off to, right? And then price took off going bullish. Price has to now come back and mitigate this last selling order before prices start reversing bullish. Okay, if we zoom in here, you can see now again, what do we do? What is happening? Price is extending first, right? The first thing is taking out liquidity. You can see a whole bunch of liquidity sitting here, trendline liquidity sitting right here. All right, this will be considered as trendline liquidity. Then you can see potentially that there's some double tops happening here as well, where the markets have to go and take out everybody, right? Here's some more liquidity lined right over here, more trendline liquidity right there. And then, yeah, so that would be it, right? First they'll take out liquidity, price needs to retrace back and fill that last imbalance. As you can see, there's an imbalance right here and right here. All right, the imbalance is filled, and then you can see the last high and last low, which is the last selling order before the major move up went up, right? So this would be considered as the 3 majors that we see in the markets that happen all the time that the markets need to do. Okay, let's look again over here. You can see again price extends, and the first thing it does is takes out liquidity first. Okay, you can see this liquidity is a trendline liquidity. Again, you can see some triple tops here, right there. You can also see, another form of trendline right here, or fairly highs right here. These are fairly double tops or so right here. And then price just takes out the market here. Okay, so liquidity first, then price needs to come back to an area to fill out the imbalance, which is right here. All right, the imbalance was filled, and then the last sell order was fulfilled as well. You can see here's the high and here's the low, and price came back to this area nicely, and then price took off again. All right, let's look at this example. Right here, price extended again, price took out this trendline liquidity, and then took out this double top liquidity as well, and then now we are looking for price to retrace to the order block down to demand. And then once it's retracing back, we need to see where the imbalance was. We see there's a fair amount of imbalance happening here. You can see that price did fill in that imbalance. Okay, right there. And price also mitigated this last down order right here. There was a sell order here from this high to this low. Price did its job, and price pushed up. Okay, so let's look over here. Let's continue this way. You can see again, price extended, broke above structure. First thing it did was take out liquidity. Price then comes back to an area of imbalance that price needs to fill. You can clearly see here we had an empty wick. The imbalance was filled out right over here, just about right here. And once imbalance is filled out, price did its job of mitigating the last down order. You can see there's a high and there's a low right there, a high and a low. Price did its job, and then price moved up, or at least reacted to this area. Okay, If you zoom out, we can clearly see again when on the major structure, price pushed bearish, right? And price had to come back, push backwards. You can see here, and this is a very interesting theory, idea here, because we can see that there's no liquidity happening in here. Price isn't taking out any liquidity, but in fact it's filling up a huge imbalance that price has left. It's actually right here. This is the imbalance that price is filling up. And the imbalance is being filled, but there's no liquidity, which is okay because price is starting to create liquidity to take everyone back down. So this is the liquidity that price is taking, that the markets are making. Sure enough, this is the external liquidity that you see the price is building, and then price is going to take out, the markets and the banks will take out all that liquidity once they push bearish like this. Okay, so this is part of their strategy. All right, let's continue here. Again, price extends. Price needs to come back and take out all this liquidity here. All right, and then come into an area where there's an imbalance. Right there's an imbalance from here, from this wick to this wick here. Oops, excuse me, right here. Let's take this out first. Come on, there we go, and there we go, and there we go. Okay, price barely filled up in the imbalance in here, which is okay because it'll come and fill out later on. Although we can see some more imbalance in here, right there and right there, from this big wick. Okay, price did fill up the imbalance, and also took out all this liquidity as well from this trend line into this fairly double top right here, fair double top right over here. Okay, double top, and then price just went up and mitigated. Then price goes to mitigate, and price sells off again. All right, the same thing is happening over and over and over. Price is breaking structure. Okay, taking out liquidity, taking the buy side liquidity. There's a lot of trendline liquidity here, as you see. Price took out all that liquidity. Now it has to come back and mitigate the last buying order. Okay, as you can see here, we had a low and a high here. Price. This is the last buying order here. Okay, and you can clearly see here this high and this high here. Oops, excuse me, just this high here. Mitigated this last up order, okay, because price did break structure here, and price did come and mitigate this last up order, this entire up order, before price had to extend. Price did fill in some imbalance, I believe. Let me see if I can find it here. Okay, there is some imbalance here, so it didn't fill up this imbalance right there. Okay, but later it will potentially fill in this imbalance, so we don't need to worry about it. But it is important to understand here that imbalance doesn't need to be corrected at all times, right? Imbalance doesn't always, the market doesn't always have to come to imbalance. But what we do need to be more worried and more specific on and looking for is for prices to take out liquidity. Liquidity is the most essential part in the area of the structure of what the market's behavior and what the bank's behavior is, how they behave in the market is taking out everyone's money first. You can see there's more liquidity here. Price retraced, came back, took out all this liquidity, took out more liquidity here, triple tops, and then mitigated this last area of supply before taking prices further down. Price broke structure again. Then we see that there's more liquidity here and here. All right there. Price came out, took out that liquidity, mitigated this last area, filled up all the imbalance. You can see there's an imbalance area right here with this wick right here and here. You can see to the right where all the market is, and then price took a sell-off from here. Okay, and then obviously price mitigated this last up order or buying order right here, right over here where the green area is before prices sold off. Okay, let's continue. There was a sell-off that happened. Price didn't really break structure here, so we don't count this as an actual break of structure or an area in the market where we see to as a footprint. Price retraces back to this high because this high here respected that previous high here. Okay, so we look for this area to be respected still, for prices to for prices to show us that prices can still go bearish. Prices does make a break of structure, and then we look for prices to now come back to take out liquidity here in the form of more trendline. More trendline liquidity right there. Right. Excuse me. Let me make this more official here. Right here. What am I doing? Here we go. Right here. Right. Prices go up and take out all this liquidity, and they go and they go to mitigate. But before the mitigation, they look to find all the imbalance, and I believe all the imbalance. There's no more imbalance in here, actually. I don't see any imbalance, but it is mitigating this last up move before the down move happens. At times there may not be even imbalance, but price normally has filled up everything here, and if everything's filled up, if all the prices are filled up, then there's no intention for price to move downwards anymore. It may push up from here. Alright, so you can see prices were mitigated, and then we look for prices to potentially fall from this direction. Alright, you can see there's an area of equilibrium, an area where there's both buyers and sellers happy with each other here in this area of liquidity. There's money, stop orders above and stop orders below, stop losses above and stop losses below. We're then looking for a price to show us the correct intention of the direction of the market, whether it's above or below. Okay, very easy, very simple. So just understand that the flow of the market is just those three things: liquidity, imbalance, and mitigation. That's all the banks do. All right, guys, we'll see you in another video.